Finding a job can be a huge undertaking, and it's especially hard for people with special needs, anyone dealing with substance use disorders, or who've had issues with the law. But one organization in our area is always looking to hire, and there are opportunities for everyone. Joining me now is Nic Watson, the president of Baker Industries. Thanks so much for talking with us this morning.
Thanks for having me on.
All right, so Nic, talk about the work that you do there at Baker Industries and how the organization started.
Yeah, so we're a nonprofit organization, and what we do is we have real employment, we have real customers and real work. We can employ people who are in difficult circumstances or having trouble getting a job right away. So that includes adults with disabilities, people returning from prison, and people in recovery from homelessness or substance use disorder. And the way that we do that is a model that we've had for 45 years. So we were founded in 1980 by Charlie and Wheezy Baker. They had their adult son, Justin, had a learning disability and he had a seizure disorder, and he kept getting jobs, and then he was unhappy in those jobs, or he was unable to be successful in those jobs. And they looked for programs, but Justin was smart. He was with it. He wanted to be productive in the world, and he knew if he was in some sort of daycare program or whatever. They wanted real work. He wanted to earn money for the family and for himself, and he wanted to be productive on his own. They looked for a program like that, and they couldn't find one that worked. So they started Baker Industries in their garage in 1980, originally really to create employment for Justin. And it grew from there. In 1988, they had expanded into their own building. They'd been loaned some space from a local business. And then they ended up working with Father Dominic Rossi, who's doing mission work in Kensington, and ran a shelter there. And they opened a outpost in Kensington on F Street, and they started working with that diverse population. And it's been really successful since then. We still today have 2 locations. We have one in Malvern, Pennsylvania. We have one in Philadelphia, in Kensington on I Street. And people can come in who are either disabled or who are like recently returning from prison. They can apply, and we can very often hire them the next week, and they work in a warehouse. We have these warehouse facilities where we do contract work for Crazy Erin's Putty, which is in Norristown, or Tasty Cake, which is right there in the Navy Yard. And they get real work. And then if they're in a transitional circumstance, over the first year, they take our job readiness program, which is just a set of classes that teach you everything from leadership in the workplace to working with different people, all the way down to writing your resume and how to get a job in the modern context. If you think about it, if somebody was homeless or in prison for 10 years and they want to return to work, the technology and everything about how you get a job and how you find a job and how you keep a job has changed. So we try and be people can stay with us for up to a year. They're paid while they're working, and if they're in class, people don't have to choose between earning and learning at Baker. And then we help them to find a job outside. Often they find jobs on their own, but they're also placed with partners of ours, and so on.
Incredible story, incredible history there. So in our last few seconds here, for anyone looking for work who thinks that the doors are closed for them, what is your message to them right now?
I think it's so important to look for work. People who are returning from prison are almost more than 50% in Philadelphia likely to return to prison. That drops down to under 10% if they have employment in that first year.
Wow.
They should check out bakerindustries.org. And I also want businesses to know you should be looking at people with checkered backgrounds. They're often more dedicated employees.
I love that. I love that as a final message. Nic Watson with Baker Industries, thank you for being here with us this morning. And for more information about Baker Industries, just tap the NBC 10 app or head to our website, nbc10.com/findit on 10.